The distress call. The crystalline spires of Celadorn glittered under the light of 3 moons, but High Counselor Vereen found no beauty in them tonight. From the observation platform of the Grand Harmony Center, she watched as the last evacuation ships departed from the orbital docks, their engines leaving trails of azure light against the night sky. "How many made it off-world?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Senior Analyst Marithi consulted his datasphere. "Just over 6 million, High Counselor. All other evacuation centers report complete boarding." Vereen's luminescent markings dimmed across her silver skin, a sign of deep sorrow. The Celadori civilization had been peaceful explorers and philosophers for over 15,000 years. Now they faced extinction. The Vorax Collective had appeared at the edge of their star system 4 months ago, massive obsidian ships that consumed everything in their path. Planets stripped bare, populations harvested for resources or worse. The Celadori, with no standing military and limited defensive capabilities, had been helpless. "The evacuation fleet will reach the sanctuary moons of Iridis," Marithi said, his four-fingered hand adjusting the collar of his formal robe. "But the Vorax will find them eventually." Vereen turned from the viewport. In the council chamber behind her, only 7 representatives remained of the once 300-member Galactic Harmony Council. The others had either evacuated with their people or perished when their colony worlds fell. "We've tried diplomacy," said Elder Jiran, her age evident in the fading luminescence of her facial markings. "We've offered tributes, technological exchanges, even territorial concessions." "The Vorax do not negotiate," Marithi stated flatly. "Their communications consist only of demands for unconditional surrender, followed by complete resource extraction." Vereen moved toward the center of the circular chamber where an ancient pedestal stood, untouched for millennia. Its surface was etched with symbols from the earliest days of Celadori spaceflight. "There is one option we haven't tried," she said. "Elder," Jiran gasped, her inner eyelids fluttering in shock. "The Ancestor Beacon? You cannot be serious." "The legends say it connects to the Forbidden Zones," Marithi whispered. "To the Death Worlds." Vereen placed her palm against the pedestal's scanner. As High Counselor, only she could activate the ancient device. "The Vorax fleet will reach Celadorn Prime within days," she said, her tone resolute. "We've called to all known peaceful worlds. None have the strength to stand against the Collective. Because no civilized species develop such capacity for violence," argued Science Minister Kolal. "Only monsters would evolve on worlds harsh enough to forge such terrible strength." Vereen's finger hovered over the activation sequence. "Then perhaps we need monsters of our own." Before anyone could object further, she pressed the sequence. The pedestal hummed to life, ancient machinery awakening after millennia of dormancy. A holographic display expanded above them, showing their galaxy with several regions marked in pulsing red. "The beacon is targeting all Class X planets," Marithi whispered, reading the ancient Celadori script scrolling across the display. "Death worlds," Vereen clarified. "Planets with extreme gravity, temperature variations, atmospheric toxins, predatory ecosystems. Worlds that produce species hardened by evolutionary pressure." The beacon pulsed, sending a concentrated quantum signal across vast distances, reaching for worlds the Celadori had deliberately avoided in their explorations. The message was simple, an encoded distress call containing the coordinates of Celadorn, prime and basic information about the Vorax Collective. "Now we wait," Vereen said, watching the signal's progress on the display. "If anything answers," Elder Jiran muttered, "we may wish the Vorax had found us first." 37 light-years away, on a blue-green planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, an alarm sounded in an underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains. Commander Elena Reyes looked up from her tactical display as red lights flashed across the monitoring station. At 42, with dark hair streaked with premature silver and amber eyes that missed nothing, Reyes had spent 20 years in the United Earth Defense Fleet. She'd seen everything from first contact with the Centauri traders to the Martian independence crisis, but the expression on Lieutenant Park's face told her this was different. "Commander," Park said, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. We're picking up an unknown transmission. It's using quantum frequencies we've theorized but haven't successfully implemented ourselves. Reyes moved to his station, studying the data stream. Source? The Cygnus sector, approximately 37 light-years distant. Park expanded the star chart on his display. The command center grew quiet as other officers turned to listen. Earth had developed faster than light travel only 12 years ago, and their exploration had been limited to a small bubble of nearby stars. They had encountered other intelligent life, 3 species so far, but all were pre-FTL civilizations, less technologically advanced than humanity. This was different. This was a transmission using technology beyond Earth's current capabilities. "It's a distress call," said Dr. Sharma, the communications specialist. She'd been working on the decoding algorithm since the signal first appeared. Basic mathematical, language coordinates and imagery of some kind of attack. Reyes straightened, feeling the weight of command settle on her shoulders. "Put it on the main screen." The wall-sized display flickered, showing translated imagery. Elegant cities of crystal and light being destroyed by massive black ships. A peaceful, slender species fleeing before attackers. Star charts marking the advancing destruction across multiple systems. "They're being invaded," Reyes said quietly. "Commander," Park interjected. "The signal, it was specifically directed at Earth, not broadcast widely. They targeted us specifically." Reyes's brow furrowed. "They know about us?" "We've never ventured anywhere near the Cygnus sector." Dr. Sharma cleared her throat. "Ma'am, there's more." She expanded a new section of the translation. "Data about the attacking force and about us." Reyes read the data, understanding dawning. To this unknown alien species, Earth was classified as an extreme environment planet, a death world. Humans evolved to survive Earth's gravity, temperature extremes, and diverse ecosystem of predators and pathogens, were viewed as potentially formidable warriors. "They're not calling for help from diplomats," Reyes said slowly. "They're calling for warriors. Get me Fleet Admiral Carino. The Security Council needs to see this immediately." 8 hours later, Commander Reyes stood before the assembled United Nations Security Council in Geneva. The emergency session had drawn representatives from all Earth nations and colonies. "The signal is genuine," Reyes concluded her presentation. "A civilization more advanced than our own is facing extinction and has reached out specifically to humanity for military intervention." "Because they think we're inherently violent?" the Brazilian representative asked, skepticism evident in her tone. "Because we evolved on what they consider a death world," Reyes corrected. "Their data suggests their species evolved in a much more stable, forgiving environment. They lack our physical resilience and adaptability." Fleet Admiral Carino, a compact woman with an imposing presence despite her small stature, stepped forward. "The Celadori, that's their name according to the translation, have technology centuries beyond our own. Their faster-than-light drives, quantum communications, and energy manipulation capabilities could advance human development by generations." "And what exactly are they asking of us, Commander?" the Secretary General inquired. "Military assistance against an aggressor they call the Vorax Collective," Reyes replied. "Based on the data they've provided, this force has already conquered multiple star systems." "And why should Earth involve itself in an interstellar conflict?" the Russian representative asked. "We have only just established our first colonies beyond the solar system." Reyes took a deep breath. "Because this is the opportunity humanity has been waiting for. First contact with an advanced civilization that could share technology and knowledge centuries beyond our own, and they need exactly what humanity has always excelled at: surviving against the odds and fighting to protect what matters." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "What do you propose, Admiral?" the Chinese representative finally asked. "I propose we answer their call," Carino said firmly. "The first and third fleets can be ready within 48 hours. 40 ships, our best crews. We have the coordinates and can use our experimental long-range warp drives to reach them." Debate erupted around the chamber, but Reyes saw the decision in their eyes before the vote was called. Humanity had spent its history looking to the stars, wondering if they were alone. Now they knew they weren't. And their first major interstellar action would be to aid a civilization in need. 2 days later, Commander Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, Earth's newest battlecruiser. Around her, 39 other vessels prepared to make the longest jump any human ship had ever attempted. "All ships report ready, Commander," Lieutenant Park announced from his station. Reyes looked at the view screen, showing Earth growing smaller, behind them. Then she turned to face the stars ahead. "Send a message to the coordinates," she ordered. "Tell them help is coming." She settled into the command chair. "All ships prepare for warp. We have an appointment to keep." As the warp engines engaged, Reyes wondered what these aliens would think when they actually met humans face to face. They had called for Deathworlders. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. The human response. The human fleet emerged from warp at the edge of the Celadori star system, their engines casting blue-white light against the darkness of space. 40 ships arranged in combat formation, the pride of Earth's military might. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, taking in the scene before her. The holographic display showed a once beautiful planetary system now, bearing the scars of war. Debris fields orbited where moons should have been. The outermost planet had been cracked open, its resources harvested by the invaders. "Life signs?" Reyes asked. Lieutenant Park studied his console. Detecting a concentration of non-human biosignatures on the third planet from the star. Approximately 1.2 million individuals clustered in one region, several smaller settlements scattered elsewhere. And the hostiles? Tactical Officer Martinez pointed to the display. Multiple large vessels on the far side of the system. They appear to be processing the remains of the second moon. They haven't detected us yet. Reyes nodded. Their arrival point had been carefully chosen to avoid immediate detection. Communications. Send a narrow beam transmission to the third planet. Identify us as responders to their distress call. Within minutes, a reply came. The main view screen displayed an alien face, slender, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer with internal light. 4 large eyes blinked in sequence, and delicate breathing structures fluttered at the sides of its neck. "I am High Counselor Vereen of the Celadori Conclave," the alien said, its voice translated through the ship's computer. You are from Earth?" Reyes stepped forward. "I am Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress signal and have come to offer assistance." The alien's bioluminescent markings pulsed rapidly, an emotional response the humans couldn't yet interpret. "You actually came," Vereen whispered. "The Council said no one would answer, that the signal was sent in vain." "We're here," Reyes assured her. "We've brought 40 ships and our best personnel. We'll need to meet to discuss the situation and how we can help." Vereen seemed to hesitate. "Yes, of course. We can provide landing coordinates for your shuttle. But I must warn you, our atmosphere contains higher levels of nitrogen than you may be accustomed to, and our gravity is only 0.8 of your Earth standard." Reyes smiled. "We'll manage." 3 hours later, Reyes led a delegation of 8 humans through the ornate halls of the Celadori Council building. The aliens had prepared a welcome ceremony, but the commander noted the fear in their movements as the humans approached. The Celadori were tall, averaging 2.2 meters in height, but incredibly slender with delicate limbs and translucent skin that revealed the faint glow of their circulatory systems. High Counselor Vereen stepped forward, performing a complex greeting gesture with her 4-fingered hands. "Welcome to Celadorn Prime, Commander Reyes. We are honored by your presence, though the circumstances are tragic." Reyes nodded, feeling the lightness in her steps from the lower gravity. "We're sorry we couldn't arrive sooner." The human delegation followed Vereen into a vast circular chamber where 6 elderly Celadori waited. The council members watched the humans with a mixture of hope and apprehension. "They are much smaller than described in the ancient texts," one elder whispered, not realizing the human's enhanced hearing could detect his words. "But density readings indicate their physical mass is nearly twice ours," another replied. "And look at how they move, so quick, so solid." Reyes pretended not to hear as Vereen made formal introductions. The humans had been briefed on Celadori customs and managed not to commit any major cultural errors as they took their places at the meeting table. "Tell us about this Vorax collective," Reyes said once the formalities concluded. Vereen activated a holographic display in the center of the table. "They appeared at the edge of our territory 11 months ago. At first, we believed them to be explorers like ourselves." Her delicate fingers manipulated the controls, showing images of the massive black ships. "They responded to our welcome messages with silence, then began stripping our outermost colony world of all resources, including the colonists. We lost contact with 3 million Celadori on that first world," Marithi added quietly. The display showed the progression of the Vorax's advance, methodical, unstoppable. The Celadori had no significant military, having evolved as a cooperative species with few natural predators on their homeworld. "We sent peace envoys," Elder Giron said. "They were returned to us in pieces." Martinez, who had accompanied Reyes, studied the tactical data with professional interest. "Their ships are impressive but not invulnerable. Our initial scans detected several potential weaknesses in their design." The Celadori looked at him with surprise, then back to Reyes. "You believe you can fight them?" Science Minister Cole asked, disbelief evident in his voice. "That's why we're here," Reyes replied simply. Vereen leaned forward. "Forgive me, Commander, but our research indicated that Earth is a challenging world. We know humans evolved under harsh conditions, but the Vorax Collective has conquered 17 systems before ours. They have technology we cannot comprehend." Reyes smiled. "Technology isn't everything, High Counselor. Humanity has survived and thrived because we never stop adapting. It's in our nature." To demonstrate her point, Reyes nodded to Dr. Singh, the expedition's xenobiologist. Singh removed a small case from her pack and opened it, revealing various earth plants and insects preserved in clear containers. "These are some species from our world," Singh explained. "This plant can survive, being completely dried out for years, then revive with a drop of water. This insect can withstand radiation levels that would kill most life forms. This simple organism can survive in the vacuum of space." The Celadori Council members examined the specimens with growing amazement. "And humans?" Vereen asked quietly. "What can you withstand?" Instead of answering directly, Reyes removed her uniform jacket. "Your atmosphere is quite comfortable for us, though a bit nitrogen-rich. We can stay awake for 3 days without serious impairment. We can survive temperature, ranges from far below freezing to well above your highest summer heat." The demonstration continued as other human team members shared examples of human capabilities. Their bone density, muscle strength, and endurance that seemed almost mythical to the Celadori. "Our people once considered Earth-type worlds merely theoretical," Vereen admitted. "Planets where the very environment constantly tries to kill its inhabitants, creating species hardened through evolutionary pressure. We thought such worlds too harsh to produce civilized societies. We've had our uncivilized moments," Reyes acknowledged. "But we've learned that strength without compassion is meaningless. That's why we answered your call." A sudden alert interrupted their meeting. A young Celadori rushed into the chamber, his markings flashing with urgency. "The Vorax vessels have changed course," he reported. "They're heading toward this planet. They must have detected the human fleet's arrival." Reyes stood immediately. "How long until they reach us?" "Approximately 8 hours." The commander turned to her team. "We need to prepare. Lieutenant Park, return to the fleet and begin defensive preparations. Dr. Singh, work with the Celadori. Medical team, they'll need to understand human physiology if any of us are injured." As her team moved with practiced efficiency, Reyes turned back to the stunned Celadori Council. "This is happening faster than expected, but we're ready. Tell your people to prepare for possible evacuation from the major cities." "You still intend to fight?" Elder Giron asked incredulously. "Now that you've seen their numbers?" Reyes's expression hardened. "On Earth we have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We didn't come all this way to do nothing." As the humans left to prepare for battle, High Counselor Vereen watched them with newfound hope and lingering fear. The Deathworlders moved with purpose and confidence that seemed almost alien to the Celadori way of thinking. They had called for monsters to fight monsters, and their call had been answered. Vereen only hoped they hadn't traded one terrifying force for another. "They are not what I expected," Marathi said softly, coming to stand beside her. "No," Vereen agreed, watching the humans' retreating forms. "They're stronger than the legends described, but also kinder. Will it be enough?" Vereen looked up at the sky, knowing that somewhere above them the Vorax Collective was approaching while Earth ships prepared to stand in their path. "We're about to find out." Battle for Celadorn. The command deck of the UES Intrepid hummed, with activity as officers prepared for the coming confrontation. Commander Reyes studied the tactical display where 40 human ships formed a defensive perimeter around Celadorn Prime. Against them, the advancing Vorax Armada had dispatched 25 of their black vessels, massive constructs that resembled jagged obsidian shards cutting through space. "They're sending only a fraction of their forces," Lieutenant Park observed. "They don't consider us a serious threat." Reyes nodded. "Good. Underestimation is an advantage we can use." Tactical Officer Martinez looked up from his console. "Commander, we've completed our analysis of their weapon systems based on Celadori data and our own scans. Their main weapons appear to be energy-based with minimal physical shielding. They rely on overwhelming firepower rather than defense." "Makes sense if they've never faced significant resistance," Reyes replied. She tapped her comm. "All ships, this is Commander Reyes. The enemy has grown accustomed to easy victories against peaceful species. Today they meet humanity. Hold formation, Epsilon until my mark." As the Vorax ships closed distance, Reyes felt a strange calm settle over her. Earth had engaged in minor skirmishes with pirates near the Centauri system, but this was humanity's first true interstellar battle. History was being written, and she was acutely aware of the responsibility. "Enemy vessels entering weapons range in 30 seconds, Martinez announced. Reyes straightened. "Launch disruptor drones. Let's see how they react." Small unmanned craft shot from the human vessels, speeding toward the Vorax formation. The black ships responded immediately, firing energy beams that vaporized several drones, but not before the remaining units detonated in brilliant flashes that temporarily scrambled sensors across the battlefield. "Formation Omega," Reyes ordered. "Execute now." The human fleet broke from their defensive posture, ships moving with practiced precision into an aggressive attack pattern. The Intrepid led the charge, its railguns firing hypervelocity rounds that struck the lead Vorax vessel before its sensors could recover. The impact was spectacular. Where the Celadori weapons had barely scratched the alien hulls, the human projectiles, simple slugs of dense metal accelerated to near-relativistic speeds, punched clean through the Vorax ship's outer armor. "Direct hits confirmed," Martinez reported, unable to keep excitement from his voice. "Enemy vessel showing significant damage to its forward section." The Vorax Armada seemed momentarily stunned by the effective attack. Their formation faltered, then regrouped as they launched a counteroffensive. Energy beams lashed out, striking 3 human vessels with devastating force. "The Tianlong and Santiago have taken critical damage," Park reported grimly. "The Ankara is still operational but has lost main engines." Reyes gripped the edge of the tactical table. "Have them fall back to defensive positions. All other ships, continue the attack pattern. Focus fire on the damaged enemy vessel." The battle intensified as both sides adjusted to each other's tactics. The humans proved more agile, their smaller ships dancing around the massive Vorax vessels. But the aliens' weapons were devastatingly powerful, each hit causing serious damage to the Earth ships. "Commander," Communications Officer Chen called. From her station, "I'm intercepting their internal transmissions. Our translation matrix is having trouble, but they appear confused by our attack patterns." "They've never faced an enemy that fights back effectively," Reyes said. "Keep pressing the advantage." As the battle raged, Reyes noticed a shift in the Vorax tactics. 3 of their ships broke from the main group, accelerating toward Celadorn Prime. They're making a run for the planet, she realized. Cruiser Group 2, intercept those vessels. We cannot let them reach the surface. Even as she gave the order, Reyes knew the 3 cruisers wouldn't be enough. A plan formed in her mind, risky, potentially suicidal, but possibly their only option. Lieutenant Park, assemble a boarding team. Full combat gear, vacuum-rated armor. I want our best, Park's eyes widened. A boarding action, Commander? Against alien technology we barely understand? The Celadori data suggests these ships have minimal internal security. They've never needed it. If we can get a team aboard the command vessel, we might be able to disrupt their entire operation. Reyes's expression was grim, but determined. Major Alvarez will lead the team. I'll join them. Commander, protocol dictates, I'm the most qualified person on this ship for xenobiological assessment. Reyes cut him off. And we need every advantage we can get. You have the bridge, Lieutenant. Major Carmen Alvarez checked the seal on her combat armor one final time as the assault shuttle raced toward the largest Vorax vessel. At 38, Alvarez had served in Earth's Special Forces before joining the Space Fleet, with extensive experience in hostile environment operations. Around her 8 men and women, the best combat specialists in the fleet, prepared their weapons. Commander Reyes completed the 10-person team, her focus absolute as she loaded her sidearm. Remember, Alvarez said, our primary objective is their command center. Secondary objective is to gather intelligence on their technology and weaknesses. The Celadori data suggests their internal atmosphere is toxic to humans, so keep your suit sealed at all times. The shuttle pilot's voice came through their comms. Approaching target. Their point defenses are focused on our capital ships. We have a clear approach to the hull breach on their port section. Reyes felt the familiar surge of adrenaline. Weapons hot. Prepare for breach. The shuttle slowed as it approached the damaged section of the Vorax ship, where human railgun rounds had torn open the hull. Using the battle as cover, the small craft slipped through the jagged opening and into the cavernous interior of the alien vessel. As they disembarked, Reyes's first impression was of unexpected darkness. The interior of the Vorax ship was dimly lit by pulsing red emergency lights, casting grotesque shadows across alien machinery. The atmosphere beyond their helmets was a swirling green mist, certainly toxic as predicted. Movement ahead, whispered Corporal Zhang, the team's point. Through the haze, Reyes caught her first glimpse of a Vorax. The creature was tall, nearly 3 meters, with a chitinous exoskeleton and multiple appendages that ended in specialized manipulators. Its head was dominated by compound eyes that glowed a sickly yellow in the red emergency lighting. The alien hadn't noticed them yet. It was focused on repairing damaged systems, working with an efficiency that suggested it might be more drone than sentient being. Hold position, Reyes ordered quietly. Let it pass. The team pressed against the corridor wall as the Vorax moved away. Once it was gone, Alvarez consulted the rough schematic they'd developed based on Celadori intelligence. Command center should be 3 levels up toward the center of the vessel. The team moved silently through the alien ship, encountering only minimal resistance. Most of the Vorax appeared focused on the external battle, not expecting enemies. Inside their own vessel. These corridors are designed for efficiency, not defense, Reyes noted. No choke points, no security barriers. They've never needed them, Alvarez replied. According to the Celadori, no one's ever fought back effectively before. After 20 minutes of careful progress, they reached a massive door that pulsed with energy. Beyond it lay the command center. They could hear the chittering communications of multiple Vorax within. Breaching charges, Alvarez ordered. Standard entry pattern. As the team prepared the explosives, Reyes studied the door mechanism. Wait, she said suddenly. Look at this. She pointed to an organic-looking interface beside the door, a control panel of some kind, but unlike any human design. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the ship's emergency systems. The Celadori said the Vorax ship systems are partially organic, she explained. They respond to biochemical signals as well as electronic ones. Reyes removed a small kit from her belt and extracted a vial of synthesized Vorax biochemical markers. developed from samples the Celadori had collected from dead Vorax troops. The biologist thought this might work as a master key. Worth a try before we announce ourselves with explosives. She applied the substance to the interface. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the panel pulsed rapidly, and the massive door slid open. The command center of the Vorax vessel was a cavernous space filled with biomechanical interfaces. A dozen Vorax stood at various stations, their attention fixed on holographic displays showing the battle outside. None of them immediately noticed the small team of humans at the entrance. EMP devices, Reyes ordered quietly. Target their central systems. The team deployed small electromagnetic pulse generators designed to disrupt electronic systems without harming organic tissue. As the devices activated, the holographic displays flickered and died. The Vorax turned as one, their compound eyes focusing on the human intruders. What followed was chaos. The Vorax, though physically imposing, were unused to close-quarters combat. The human team, products of a death world's evolutionary pressures and military training, moved with a speed and coordination the aliens couldn't match. Reyes fought her way to what appeared to be the main control console, deploying the specialized virus their tech team had developed based on Celadori data. It was designed to target the Vorax's semi-organic command systems, creating a cascade failure that would disable their weapons and engines. "Upload complete," she called to Alvarez. "We need to get out of here, now." The team fought their way back to the entry point, sustaining injuries but suffering no casualties. As they retreated toward their shuttle, the effects of the virus became evident. Throughout the massive ship, systems began to fail. Lights flickered, gravity wavered, and the toxic atmosphere began to vent into space through newly opened breaches. "All teams," Reyes broadcast to the fleet as their shuttle cleared the Vorax vessel. "Target the command ship's propulsion systems. Finish it off." Human railguns concentrated fire on the vulnerable engines of the Vorax flagship. Without its defensive systems, the massive vessel couldn't withstand the assault. Its power core destabilized, and the ship began to break apart. The effect on the rest of the Vorax fleet was immediate and unexpected. As the command vessel disintegrated in a spectacular explosion, the remaining ships seemed to lose coordination. Some began to retreat while others continued fighting, but with diminished effectiveness. They operate as a collective, Reyes realized. The command ship must contain their central intelligence. "All ships," she ordered, "press the advantage. Don't let them regroup." The human fleet surged forward, unleashing everything in their arsenal against the suddenly vulnerable Vorax vessels. One by one, the black ships were disabled or destroyed, until only a handful managed to retreat into faster-than-light travel, disappearing from the Celadori system. 3 days later, Commander Reyes stood once again in the Celadori Council chamber. This time, the mood was very different. The Celadori representatives watched the humans with a mixture of awe, gratitude, and lingering fear. "You have saved our civilization," High Counselor Vereen said formally. "The Celadori people owe humanity a debt we can never fully repay." Reyes, still bearing the marks of combat and a healing cut across her cheek, nodded respectfully. "We answered your call as any sentient species should, but this is just the beginning." "The beginning?" Elder Jiran asked. "The Vorax Collective has conquered many systems before yours. They'll recover from this defeat and return. Perhaps not here, but somewhere, and next time they'll be prepared for human tactics." Fleet Admiral Carino, who had arrived with reinforcements from Earth, stepped forward. "Which is why we're proposing an alliance. The Celadori have advanced technology, but lack the evolutionary adaptations for warfare. Humanity has those adaptations but lacks your technological advancement. Together," Reyes continued, "we could create a force capable of not just defending this system, but liberating those already under Vorax control, perhaps even finding a permanent solution to the threat they pose." Vereen's bioluminescent markings pulsed with complex emotions the humans were still learning to interpret. "You would risk your people in a larger war? For species you've never even met?" Reyes smiled. "That's the thing about evolving on a death world, High Counselor. It doesn't just make you strong, It teaches you that survival often depends on cooperation. On Earth, the most successful species aren't always the strongest. They're the ones that form beneficial relationships with others. A death world trait we hadn't considered, Marithi said thoughtfully. The ancient texts were incomplete, Vereen. Agreed. They warned us of the physical capabilities of death world species, but said nothing of their capacity for compassion. The Celadori Council withdrew to deliberate, leaving the humans waiting in an antechamber adorned with crystalline sculptures that captured and refracted light in mesmerizing patterns. Do you think they'll agree? Admiral Quirino asked quietly. Reyes watched the play of light through the alien art. I think they're beginning to understand that we're more than the monsters they feared, that resilience and determination can be virtues as well as terrors. And the greater war against the Vorax? One battle at a time, Admiral, Reyes replied. But I believe this is just the beginning of something remarkable. When the Council returned, their decision was unanimous. The Celadori-Human Alliance was formally established, the first of its kind between a death world species and a civilization from a more forgiving world. Together, they would face whatever came next. As the formal ceremony concluded, Vereen approached Reyes privately. When we sent that distress call into the void, the Celadori leader confessed, I truly believed we were summoning monsters to fight monsters. I never imagined that Deathworlders could be builders as well as warriors, Reyes suggested. Vereen's markings pulsed with what Reyes had come to recognize as the Celadori equivalent of a smile. Perhaps that is the most remarkable adaptation of all. From the observation platform, they watched as human and Celadori ships began joint patrols of the system, the first of many collaborative efforts between the two species. The Deathworlders had answered the call from across the void, and in doing so they had proven that the greatest strength of all was not the ability to destroy, but the courage to protect.